Raymond Thomas Dalio, better known as Ray Dalio, is a billionaire hedge fund manager and founder of Bridgewater Associates. Bridgewater Associates, which was founded in 1975, is the largest hedge fund in the world with 138 billion
billions with a B
in assets under management as of Q1 2020. For comparison, we can look to number 2 on the list, which is Renaissance Technologies with 110 billion in assets under management. Number 3 is the Man Group with 62 billion. Number 4 is AQR Capital Management with 60.8 billion. And number 5 is Two Sigma Investments with $42.9 billion. So clearly, Bridgewater Associates has raised a huge sum of money for their hedge fund. The enormity of this accomplishment and the investing success that Ray and Bridgewater have found over the many decades that they have been in business has led Ray to be one of the most often cited figures in the investing community, with many looking to recreate the success that he has found. Wouldn't it be great if we could look into Ray's mind and understand how he makes decisions, how he thinks, and how he went about creating the company that he has? Luckily for you and I, Ray wrote Principles in 2017, which goes into Ray's life and work principles and how he thinks and operates on a day-to-day basis. In this book club series, we'll dive into a few of Ray's principles and how you can use them to mimic the success that Ray has found. For those that are finding the channel for the first time, my name is Chris Blum. I am a 25-year-old commercial real estate broker in the San Francisco Bay Area, and on this channel, I make videos on productivity, personal finance, real estate, and investing. So without further ado, let's dive into principles. Takeaway number 1 is to build a machine and create an error log. Now this is a little cryptic, so what does it mean? Much more important than living by Ray's principles, and I think he would agree with me, is the idea that he perpetuates about coming up with your own systems and your own principles that you live your life by. This is your machine. If you did not have systems, you would be driven crazy by the number of decisions that you have to make. Having written principles allows you to leverage your time and delegate tasks to others. And having an error log allows you to look back at your decision making in the past, see what you did well and what you didn't do so well, and iterate so that you can do better moving into the future. In building this machine, everyone, including yourself, should be replaceable so that you do not run into key person risk. To do this requires being able to step back, detach, and look at yourself and your machine from above. This is takeaway number 2. Doing so gives you a full understanding of any given situation. It allows you to step back and separate the you that is the creator of your machine from the you that is the worker in it. And if you find an area within your machine that you are not performing up to your own standards, you can fire yourself and find someone else that can do the task better, that has different strengths and different weaknesses. And this is important when you start analyzing the overall machine and perhaps employees from above. Everyone sees the world differently and is wired in a different way. We all have our own strengths and our own weaknesses. Ray spends much time in the book talking about assessing those around you. At Bridgewater, he even uses personality tests to assess all of his employees and creates baseball cards which lists their strengths and weaknesses. Viewing from above allows you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses and those around you without running into ego. Now that you have an understanding of what your machine is, we can move away to takeaway number 3, which is to be a hyper-realist and embrace the truth. You should always embrace your reality and your weaknesses. In fact, Ray says that weaknesses only matter if you do not find solutions. Facing painful realities leads to progress. Avoiding them does not. So you should always ask for candid feedback, embrace it, and use it to change and move forward. One of the phrases that Ray uses many times in the book is to be radically open-minded and radically transparent. Again, it's said so often that I'll say it again. Be radically open-minded and radically transparent. This philosophy is probably what sets Ray and Bridgewater apart from so many others in the business community. But what does it mean? It does not mean that you should be rude, say the first thing that comes to mind.
You're a fat loser and you have body odor.
All right.
Or be careless with sensitive information about your company. But it does mean that you should foster an environment where people feel free to share their ideas and thoughts and where they are not put down for going against the consensus view. This is very important in a company as you can often lead to different types of bias where those in power just have their ideas agreed to and are never challenged. Bridgewater operates as a true meritocracy where everyone's ideas are valued and everyone is welcome to give their ideas. However, this does not mean that everyone's ideas are weighted equally, and Ray uses what he calls believability-weighted decision-making to judge how much information and experience someone has in a particular subject, and to use that to then ultimately come to a decision. Takeaway number 4 is to use the 5-step process to run your machine. Step number 1 is to create clear goals and to prioritize. As Ray says, you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. Step number 2 is to identify and not tolerate problems. And when identifying problems, you need to be as specific as possible. You cannot use the royal we or refer to a team to avoid putting responsibility on the correct person. Whether that's you or someone else, you need to be very specific when you're identifying problems. Once you've identified the problem, you can dig deep and diagnose the root causes of the problem. Once you've diagnosed the root causes of a problem, you can come up with a plan. When creating a plan, you should think of it like a movie script. Start broad and then drill into the specifics. And then once you have your plan, see it out and then repeat. This is the 5-step process to running your machine. Takeaway number 5, which is short and sweet and similar to a takeaway that I had from Grant Cardone's 10x rule, is to completely own your outcomes. Whether they're good or bad, you should completely own them and not put the blame anywhere else. So these were a few of the important takeaways that I got from Ray Dalio's principles. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for similar content in the future. I will link my full notes from the book below and recommend that you give it a read or listen as I did if you found it interesting. Thanks again for watching.